Bangali and Tana North as a security disturbed in dangerous areas. This tension remains high in several villages in the two sub-counties following a renewed inter-clan clashes said to be over land disputes. According to official reports, the skirmishes escalated following efforts by the county government of Tana River to evacuate flood victims from the disaster-hit areas, which have been strongly opposed by some of the residents. The local residents are now calling upon the government and relevant security agencies to heighten security in the area and to ensure normalcy is back.
Kama mbeleni ilikuwa tunakuja tu free moja tunaweza kuja uchote maji, sasa tumeogopa. Hata sisi yenyewe ni kabila lingine lakini tunaogopa. Sisi yenyewe tunajiogopea. Sasa tunaomba amani kwa watu. Kama wataweza kukubali amani, waregeshe amani kama na upendo kama mbeleni venye tulikuwa tunaishi.
Sasa watu wamehama, wametoka, watoto wametoroka, shule hakuna shule, watoto hawasomi na mtihani ndio imekaribia. Watu wengine wamevuka wako ngambo, wengine wanalala msituni. Manyumba yao wameacha, wanakuwa na shida ya changamoto, njaa ndio hiyo.
Tana River County Governor Godana Dado has faulted some of the local political leaders for the instability and clashes witnessed in the county. The county boss has accused the leaders of incitement leading to the deadly clashes.
Wanapinga pia jamii zingine katika mipangilio ya maendeleo. Watu fulani pia wakawa wamehusisha jamii zao, wamemobilize jamii zao. Paka ikafika kiwango sasa watu wanaimba manyimbo ya kivita.
A section of leaders in the county are now calling upon the local residents to end the clashes and coexist peacefully for peace and stability in the area.
Naomba ndugu zangu wa hapa Tana River, jamii mbili zinazozana saa hii, tafadhalini msimamishe hiyo maneno katika dini yetu, manake wengi wenu ni wa dini moja. Tumeambiwa ukitoa ruhu moja ni kama umetoa ulimwengu mzima.
These as 5 political leaders from the Tana River County were summoned to appear before the National Cohesion and Integration Commission on Monday next week over incitement linked to the clashes between the two communities neighboring Tana River and Kitui counties. Samira Mohammed for TV 47.
Now tonight, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has written to Chief Justice Martha Koome requesting the Chief Justice to create a panel of judges to hear his impeachment case by Tuesday next week. Now the letter by Gachagua's legal team seeks to have the bench hear Gachagua's prayers before the Senate kicks off his trial on Wednesday and Thursday next week. And as Apollo Kamal reports, the move comes after the High Court referred Gachagua's case to the Chief Justice. Take a look.
In what was a first for the Deputy President in his quest to stop the ongoing impeachment proceedings against him, the High Court has given him the much-needed leeway to argue his case by referring the matter to Chief Justice Martha Koome after High Court Judge Justice Lawrence Mugambi ruled Gachagua's impeachment raises weighty constitutional questions to be heard by a bench.
Considering the immense public interest that this matter has generated, and being the first of its kind in Kenya where the Deputy President of the Republic is being removed by process of impeachment, it is my considered opinion that this matter deserves the input of a bench so as to pronounce itself on the process that is constitutionally compliant to serve as a benchmark for future undertakings of this nature.
Gachagua's legal team, in a letter to CJ Koome on Friday, invites the CJ to empanel a bench to hear and determine Gachagua's petitions by Tuesday next week, ahead of the Senate impeachment hearings on Wednesday and Thursday, saying, and I quote, "We urge you to prioritize this and empanel a bench to hear and determine these petitions when their substratum still subsists. We need to argue the prayers for conservatory orders before the Senate begins its hearing sessions."
It is necessary for this citizenry of this country to know whether the current state of law allows adequate opportunity to participate meaningfully in the process of removal of their Deputy President. The question whether the current Parliament is properly constituted and thus incapable of carrying out the impeachment process in the light of Supreme Court Advisory Opinion number 2 of 2012 was also highlighted.
Gachagua's legal team, which has questioned the hasty manner the impeachment process was undertaken, while contesting Gachagua was not given sufficient time to defend himself, draws the attention of the CJ to the petitions, which the letter says raise serious and important constitutional issues, including those touching on the legitimacy of the National Assembly to exercise their powers to impeach, given that there is an advisory opinion already issued. The other weighty issues include the question of the form, modalities, structure, nature and threshold of public participation during the impeachment of a deputy president.
These are weighty issues. Particularly, my lord, in a presidential system of government as opposed to a parliamentary system of government.
More than 20 petitions have been filed to stop or challenge Gashagua's impeachment, including the latest one by Morara Omoke of the Eldoret High Court, blocking the Chief Justice from swearing in a new deputy president. Apul Kamau, TV47.
Now, Kenyans continue to struggle to access medical services, especially at Machakos Level 5 Hospital, due to the medic strike that entered its second day today. Now, the already bad situation has been made worse by the confusion facing the ongoing transition from NHIF to SHIF, with many patients forced to dig deeper to get the service in private facilities.
This is at Machakos Level 5 Hospital. Frustrated patients are bearing the brunt after medics in the county down their toll, citing a raft of demand.
Tumekuja hapa hospitali Machakos na tumekuta madaktari wote wa macho wako kwa mgomo.
Paul is among those affected, having taken time off from work in Nairobi to bring his wife for treatment.
Niko na shida. Kama mwanaume nimetoka all the way from Nairobi, nimechukua emergency leave kwa ajili ya kushughulikia mke wangu. Kuja hapa, shida ndio hiyo. Na kati tunakata tunalipa kila siku.
His attempts to seek help at a private hospital were thwarted when her outpatient card was not accepted, leaving him in despair.
Wananiambia yes, njia imefunguka mbili, lakini madaktari wamegoma, hakuna vile wanaweza nisaidia niende nitafute hospitali zingine kama ni private.
Tumeenda tukaambiwa kadi hazifanywi kwa private hospitals za NHIF zote. Kama tunataka matibabu tulipe pesa.
And then there's Angeline, a caregiver for a patient with a broken leg from a motorcycle accident who still hasn't received assistance. She states that they incurred daily costs of 1,000 shillings just to seek services, and now they have lost hope.
Kila siku ni elfu moja. Unakula lakini ndana kuona.
Their urgent plea is for Machakos Governor Wavinya Ndeti to intervene so that patients seeking care in Machakos hospitals can receive the help they desperately need.
Lakini sasa hatuna pesa, sisi tutafanya nini? Kwa hivyo tunaomba governor ashughulikie madaktari kwa haraka, watu wanalia hapa nje.
Tunaumia. Napata ya kwamba mtu anauza ng'ombe, anauza shamba ili akapate matibabu kwa hospitali za binafsi.
But their pleas are likely to fall on deaf ears, as the county on Thursday said it will not pay the striking medics, signaling a prolonged standoff.
That anybody going for what we are calling go slow or a strike thinks that he will be paid when he comes back. That will not happen.
Earlier today, the Labour Relations Court has asked the striking medics to return to work, pending the hearing and determination of a case challenging the industrial action. Roga Ivan, TV47.
Now, Nakuru Governor Susan Kihika had a hard time reading President William Ruto's condolence message during the funeral of Bahati legislator Irene Njoki's brother Henry Gashie in Bahati constituency, Nakuru County. Well, now this comes after a week of significant political developments in the country, which featured the sailing through of an impeachment motion against the deputy president at the National Assembly.
At first, it was all peace and calm at the final send-off of Bahati Member of Parliament Irene Njoki's brother Henry Gashie in Bahati constituency, Nakuru County, until the county governor Susan Kihika stood to read a condolence message from President William Ruto.
Excellency William Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya.
Showing no willingness to listen to the message, mourners raised their hands in a show of refusal of the continuation of the speech by the governor.
From His Excellency William Ruto, President of the Republic, and Commander-in-Chief.
At the same time, a Member of Parliament George Kariuki Macharia also faced a trough from the residents on his attempt to speak of the government projects that are being rolled out.
Serikali ya Rais William Ruto inajitahidi sana kuhakikisha ya kwamba barabara zote hapa Kenya, sana sana zile barabara zimekwama kidogo, tutatengeneza zote, zitakamilika na mutaona maendeleo.
These comes days after the National Assembly voted to have the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua impeached, an issue that has not yet sat well with Nakuru residents.
Tusifanye makelele kwa sababu tuko kwa mazishi. Washeni tusifanye makelele.
Pole sana William Samoei Ruto. Thank you.
Chichi Josephine, TV 47.
Nakai toigwe. Esa wangege kila iweka toigwe.
Now, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has an option of heading to the courts should he disagree with the outcome of the National Assembly and Senate in the event he is impeached following an impeachment motion, which is to be canvassed next week. Now, according to law scholars and lawyers who TV47's senior political reporter Elizabeth Mutuku interviewed, opined that the parliamentary process is a quasi-judicial process and thus doesn't bar Gachagua from seeking justice in the judiciary since it's the custodian of the Constitution of Kenya.
As the clock ticks to Wednesday next week when the Senate will probe the impeachment motion facing Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, the way forward after the parliamentary process has divided legal opinion in country on whether the embattled second in command has a lifeline in the corridors of justice. The debate was ignited when former Law Society of Kenya President Nelson Harvey opined that the Constitution does not anticipate a judicial intervention in the removal of Deputy President from office and that the DP will cease holding office when the Senate upholds the decision of the Senate to impeach Gachagua. But according to senior counsel John Haminwa, the DP has more than one avenue to get his case heard in the courts.
The High Court, that is right. He can go to courts to seek a remedy, to show that the process of law has not been followed. There have been grave irregularities. There have been, we can allege that there have been bribery and etc. Yeah, he can do so.
He can still. At the moment, there are over 20 petitions in the courts challenging the impeachment process, with the Chief Justice now asked to form a panel of 3 to 7 judge bench to hear the weighty legal matters surrounding the process, which some argued could face doldrums due to fact that Parliament used a law set to impeach county government officials to impeach a national government executive member.
Not how people remaining in offices when it has emerged very clearly that people are very unhappy with the ministry that the individual is heading or with the office that the individual is heading. If he finds that people are very unhappy with what he is doing, let him put in a letter of resignation and go. He can always come much later on.
Haminwa now proposes a change in law which calls for nomination of DP before an election, which he says could bring more legal problems ahead. Haminwa's opinion on what next after the parliamentary process has been echoed by former Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya, who opines that decisions of quasi-judicial function of the parliament can be challenged in courts and are largely only limited to summoning of interested parties. Article 165 of the Constitution 2010 gives the jurisdiction to courts on anything done on the authority given by Constitution is amendable by courts from High Court, Court of Appeal, and Supreme Court.
After all, presidential power is shared, in practical terms, is shared between the president and the deputy president. So if someone has been a deputy president for 2 terms together with the president, when the incumbent goes away, he should also go. The same should apply for the position of the governor and deputy governor.
Tonight, a long road ahead as according to lawyers, the court process is just the beginning of full constitutional process. Elizabeth Motuko, TV47, Nairobi.
Thanks, Liz, for that. Now, the Ministry of Interior is asking Kenyans to give their views on critical infrastructure protection bill, which seeks to have all government buildings and installations gazetted as critical infrastructure. Now, the new proposed law is causing ripples with some quarters, seeing it as a way of stopping Kenyans from demonstrating in major towns across the country, which host most government offices and buildings.
On Friday, the Ministry of Interior, under the leadership of Professor Kithure Kindiki, revealed proposed new measures that seeks to protect critical infrastructure in the country. This move comes amidst the protest witnessed months ago, which was spearheaded by Gen Z. This movement of Gen Z kept the government on toes and revealed some loopholes on matters security, more especially within government-owned buildings. For instance, the underground tunnel being used by parliamentarians in case of emergency was on the spotlight that day. Members of Parliament were confronted by the nightmare of public outrage and backlash from Kenyans determined to occupy Parliament over the controversial Finance Bill of 2024. The ministry in a statement on Tuesday confirmed that already they have drafted Critical Infrastructure Protection Bill 2024 that seeks to provide for the Infrastructure Protection Committee to strengthen source ministries. The main purpose of this bill is to establish an institutional framework for designation and protection of critical infrastructure, a national database for critical infrastructure assets, and to coordinate activities of all stakeholders in the planning, designation, and protection of critical infrastructure. In this bill, there will be a committee. The Ministry of Interior says that the Constitution under Article 10(2)(a) provides that members of public should be involved in the whole process. As we speak, members of public and stakeholders have already been invited to deliver their hand-delivered memorandum on the bill to the Principal Secretary, Ministry of Interior, the Arambe House, Nairobi. Members of public are now free to submit their memorandum before the 22nd of October. This is not the first attempt seen to infringe the right to protest as enshrined in the Constitution, with earlier proposals to, among other things, limit the number of those protesting in a given street. Paul Kirobi, TV47, Nairobi.
Now, tonight, the government has signed a 95.58 billion shillings worth energy project with Adani Energy Solutions. Now, the agreement will see the Indian nationality-owned firm build and later manage power transmission lines for 30 years, where Opio Wandaik, the Cabinet Secretary for Energy, says the project will ensure long-term sustainability and efficiency in energy transmission. Now, the signing of the deal comes weeks after Kenya Airports Authority took to the streets over a 30-year takeover deal of JKIA by Adani. Moige William tells us more.
Even before the dust settles on the first Adani deal involving the management of the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, yet again, another deal involving the Adani Group is in the books. This time, the government, through the Kenya Electricity Transmission Company Limited, KETRACO, has put pen to paper a deal Adani Energy Solutions to manage power transmission line for 30 years.
An extremely transparent process. KETRACO has now been able to enter into an agreement with Adani Energy Solutions. An agreement which was signed this Wednesday, on 9th, I think. That is going to ensure that ultimately, at the end of this exercise, which is in the year 2027, we shall have modern, efficient, first-class transmission lines and substations.
Cabinet Secretary Energy Opio Wandaik officiating the signing, stating the agreement will ensure long-term sustainability and efficiency in the power distribution institution.
And therefore, it is our duty to ensure that we continually increase the generation of power. But more importantly, to improve and modernize our transmission and distribution infrastructure.
The Adani name for months now hitting the headlines after controversy rocked a 30-year lease of Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in a 238 billion shillings agreement secured by the group. Kenya Airports Authority workers taking to the streets expressing the dissatisfaction over how the group secured the deal, with Kenyans raising concerns over Adani's credibility.
And the board of KETRACO eventually and ultimately approved the whole process. So the only way out is public-private partnerships.
On the Kitreco signed deal, Wandai revealing that the signing of the agreement process has been ongoing for the past 4 months and that the power transmission firm had done due diligence on Adani, finding no grey area to warrant concern.
So as a country, we must be forward-looking and we must plan ahead. If we want to develop, to industrialize, we must ensure that we have enough supply of power.
Now, Cape Media's team, courtesy of Cooperative Bank, are on a campus wave tour at Kisumu National Polytechnic, Kisumu County. Well, this collaboration aims to mentor youth from the age of 18 to 35 to create a financial-wise future by registering on the Year app, an application that will enable them to access a variety of banking, money transfers and payment services. Anastasia Mukabi reports.
Youths in Kisumu County were the latest to engage with the Cape Media team, courtesy of Cooperative Bank, campus wave tour at Kisumu National Polytechnic.
Hey manze, leo tuna have fun, courtesy of Cooperative manze. Wase wanafaa kudownload hiyo app na wase wa save, ndio ma youth them.
At least a lot of students have opened the bank. They'll be saving the money. And it's just a good experience.
This collaboration aims to enlighten youths on transforming their passion into business by creating an account on Cooperative Bank's Year app.
We have come here in Kisumu Poly to mentor these students on how you can monetize your content.
The head of Western and Nyanza region at Cooperative Bank, Paul Shianda, outlined some of the benefits of opening a Year account.
We are here to tell them you can open a Year account. And we are saying you just download the app. From that app, you are able to open to do your transaction right away. It's really digital, just on the palm of your hand.
Nonetheless, entrepreneurs who are present commended Year app since more youths will acquire financial literacy skills and information that will help curb unemployment.
Nimeelezea umuhimu kwanza wa ku-operate na bank kwa sababu unajua when you have a bank account, it's easy.
We are waiting for more mentorship programs to come up so that we can be able to at least help the youth navigate through their passion.
In light of this, via Year app, youths will be able to acquire knowledge and skills every Thursday on becoming successful entrepreneurs and create a financial-wise future via Year account. Anastasia Mkabi, TV47.
Sports news brought to you by Maybets. Bet bila stake. Predict the outcome of 8 pre-selected games and win up to 100,000 shillings. Only at maybets.com.
Okay, so it's now time for some sporting action, and the 2024 Safari Sevens Rugby Tournament enters day 2 on Saturday at the Jomo Kenyatta Stadium in Machakos County. And now that is going to be happening, of course, this weekend. Shujaa Varsity Select Uganda Ladies and Lions Rugby secured wins on Friday in the group phase of the competition. Well, TV47 broadcasted the event live and will also air the matches tomorrow and Sunday. And our reporter Duncan Mutua is now in Machakos County and has the full details. Take a look.
Last day of the 26th edition of the Safari Sevens witnessed a rugby bonanza, with each team showcasing their appetite to win the title.
Those boys, they were fit and they were physical. The tournament got moved a day earlier, so we've only had 1 day's prep. Getting used to this altitude and this heat was really tough, and coming up against teams like what we played before and then now, they're physical, they're fast, and they go hard all day. So we came into this and said, we've just got to stay calm and stay patient, move the ball, and hopefully our skill will rise to the...
National 7 circuit champions Kenya Harlequin were the first to curtainize the tournament and fell to a 26-0 loss against Shogam. Kenya Moran also got off to a bad start, falling to a 14-12 defeat against Red Whalers. Lions Rugby seems to be the team to beat after registering a 38-0 victory over Qatar. Varsity Select are feeling the